Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. We have a wonderful show for you today because we got a gentleman on that he's been very gracious. He's actually on vacation, and he is helping us out by giving up some of his time to come on the show. And we're lucky to have him because he's very, very, very busy. And he's one of our favorite guests because he's always got great information. Weather here in Las Vegas is still hot. So everybody's rushing out early in the morning to get through. Yesterday was 114. So that's kind of warm. You know, if you like warm weather like I do, it's still hot. You might think about going out and playing, maybe 9 holes, 12 holes or whatever, but it is hot. We've got the British Open coming up, or the Open, as people say. I don't know how that got started. To me, it's still the British Open. And that's going to be our last major of the year. It's going to have a good field, obviously, and always be a really, really nice tournament. Because depending on the course they're playing in the Rota, you got to play sometimes a little bit different type of golf. And I always love that. So we're looking forward to that. Anyway, let me tell you about our special guest, Mr. Mike Bender. Mike is a master instructor and the owner of the Mike Bender Golf Academy, as well as being their director of instruction in beautiful Lake Mary, Florida. He has long been considered one of America's top teachers, and is why he was the 2009 Teacher of the Year. He is also ranked among the top 5 teachers in America by Golf Digest, and has been included in Golf Magazine's top 100 list like forever. Okay, he's appeared on numerous shows, and it just has a long, long list of awards and accommodations and mentions. Really, that would take up probably half of the show. So I'm going to stop there and get into the interview, and let's bring Mike up. And Mike, thanks for really taking time out and helping us out and coming on the show. Appreciate it, my friend.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for having me. It's always fun to be on your show and talk about golf.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Mike, what did you take away from competing on the mini tours before deciding to teach full time?
Well, I think, you don't have to be a great player to be a great teacher, but it certainly helps. Because, especially if you're teaching competitive players, because you understand the feelings that they have when they're out competing, and they're coming down the stretch with maybe a one-shot lead, or they've got to make a cut, or, there's just so many scenarios that being a good player helps you to understand what they go through. So I always tell everybody that, I played for the first 10 years of my career, and actually got on the PGA Tour for 3 years as well, toward the end of that time. But I always say that was my training for my true profession, which is teaching the game. So, So I had some pretty good experiences there to fall back on.
Yeah. Do you think that, and you teach a lot of touring professionals, both on the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour, and a lot of elite players. Do you think they appreciate you more, possibly, being able to walk and talk the talk, having been there?
Oh, yeah. I think that adds another layer of credibility for sure. And I know, like Zach, for instance, Zach Johnson, who I've taught for 20-some years, and I know he's always, when he talks about it, he mentions that he likes the fact that I played, when I was on tour for 3 years. So, yeah, I think that definitely, like I said, helps with the credibility.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Please explain to all of our viewers, listeners, how you developed your Megsa PPE. And please explain to our viewers what that is exactly.
Well, everyone wants to get better at golf.
Yeah.
And, there's very few people that, in my opinion, that really have a clear understanding of what it actually takes to improve your golf swing or change it, let's say, make it better. And so in my process of coming up and trying to get on the PGA Tour, I didn't have a very good golf swing growing up. I didn't know that. I thought I had a really good golf swing. But as I learned more about it from teachers on my way up, I kind of understood that, I needed to make some changes. So what I would do is I would go out and I would work on it, and I would be using my brain, thinking about all the different things I need to change and the feels that go with that and so forth. But then I'd find out that I'd get back on that video camera and I'd look at it and my swing didn't look really any different. So it was very frustrating for me. And then later on, when I started teaching, I found out everybody was experiencing the same thing as me. So,
Yeah.
or that I did. So what I would do is I would start to kind of invent certain things that would be in your way. So if you swung the golf club in an area that you didn't want to, there would be immediate feedback.
Yeah.
And when I started doing that, I got tremendous results, and people started changing their swings. They started playing much better, hitting the golf ball much better. So then I decided, what would happen if I could build something that people could come into, like a gym. When you go to the gym, you work out with different machines, but what if they could come in and get set up on this machine that would provide these barriers, and they could practice the same way every single day. So that was kind of the beginning of that, and here we are, fast forward 20 years later, we have these, I have 4 of them at my academy, and they're used every day, and it speeds up the learning process probably 5 to 10 times faster than just trying to hit golf balls on your own. So that's kind of how that came about.
That is amazing, yeah. And by the way, Mike, I've talked to some people out at Lake Mary that you play golf with. Some of them don't think your swing is really all that better, all that improved. Machines are not. No, I'm of course only.
I've got a few pictures that would verify that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I know that you have designed some training aids. How often do you use them in your lessons, and what types should golfers look for to most benefit them? There are 1,000 training aids on the market, as you know. I think most of them suck. What is your advice to your students when they go, I want to get a training aid to help me when I'm not with you and this and that? What do you tell them?
Well, I think there's 2 kinds of training aids. There's the kind of training aid that does it for you. We call that positive feedback. That would be something that you maybe strap onto yourself that kind of forces your arms to do a certain thing, or the club to do a certain thing. And then there's training aids, excuse me, that provide negative feedback, where kind of like what I was mentioning a little bit ago, where if you went into the wrong spot, you bump into something.
Right.
And typically those types of training aids are more effective. They work faster. They register more in the brain and that kind of thing. So, and you're right, there's more patents on golf training aids than all of the other sports combined.
Unbelievable, yeah.
So there's people are always trying to come up with a new and the greatest training aid there is, but the bottom line is feel is not real, and what you feel you're doing, what you think you're doing are 2 different things. So any training aid that can kind of put you in the right spot or get you to make the right move is valuable, because then it's a matter of repetition, right? Because then you learn, like, I can't remember who it was, but it was a pretty famous golfer said you learn mechanics first, and then you learn feel from mechanics, not the other way around. So so it's good to, and it's hard, like I said, because like when I experienced, I thought I was making the changes, and I'd go back on that video and see that I wasn't. So some of these training aids that produce the right look, and then the player then can learn the feel from, pretty valuable in my book.
Oh, definitely. Are your training aids still available to the golfing public, Mike?
Well, we have on my website, I have an area of products that I like and that I use. Like, I don't try to ever recommend any training aid that I don't think is, that I don't use or wouldn't promote to any of my students. So, but it's on our website, and there's different aids, excuse me, for putting or for chipping or for the full swing. So we have different things that really, again, speed up that learning process and make people have better technique.
That's the best. Of all the ones you have developed, do you have a favorite, or is there one that turned out to be more popular than the others?
I think in the full swing, one of my favorite ones was a tool called the Insider, and it was kind of a PVC thing with a cushion on it, and it wouldn't allow you to come over the top, and that's probably one of the most common faults in golf.
Yeah.
Outside of people aiming to the right. So that training aid was one of the first ones I invented, and still to this day I use it. We use it all the time, and it gets people to come down shallow from the inside where they can actually start to draw the ball and create more club head speed and just more consistency in their swing.
Nice. Very, very nice. I'm going to have to go on the website and look at those because I'm looking for anything, obviously, that's going to help me improve like most golfers. Speaking of that, Mike, I know there are multitudinous reasons why the weekend player doesn't get better. In your opinion, and you've worked with hundreds and hundreds, what do you think is the main one or two reasons why these people don't get better other than not putting in the practice time?
Well, number one, you have to have I always call it, you have to have a direction. Like if I'm in Orlando and I'm going to drive to Chicago, I need to follow a map.
Right.
I'm not going to drive all over, but what most people are looking for is a tip. And they look for the magazines, or they hear a tip, or there's so many sources now with social media and the internet. And there's so much information out there that everybody wants to try this and try that. And really what they need to do is they need to stick in one direction. They need to practice it. And one of the things that people don't do also is exaggerate. And so, your golf swing is kind of like a spring. And if you don't like what it is and you want to change it, you got to bend that spring past where you want it to be and overdo it so that when it snaps back, it doesn't go all the way back. That's kind of an analogy we use. And so,
interesting.
Number one, you got to exaggerate. Number one, you got to have a plan. Number two, you got to exaggerate. And then you do have to put the time in, because the repetitions is the only way that you're actually going to really groove in something that's going to stick with you. But one thing I would tell everybody out there is, I said, it's worth it, because once you groove a good golf swing, it's just as hard to get rid of as a bad one. So it's worth the effort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had a guy the other day, he said, well, how long do you think this is going to take? And I said to him, well, what's your alternative? So it doesn't really matter how long it takes. It only matters that you just keep moving in the right direction. And you get
exactly.
better over time. That's the great part about golf, because we can play it our whole life.
That is well said and very interesting. I've never heard that before about the exaggeration. I got a text from somebody who says, "What do you mean by exaggeration? You talking about maybe a fuller backswing, to load more? Or give us an example of exaggeration."
An example would be, excuse me. An example would be that, and I call it kind of getting ugly. Let's say if someone has their arms too high at the top of the backswing. They lift. They don't turn very well, and they lift. Well, that person needs to really turn and get their arms much lower than where they actually want it to be. So to them, it would feel like their arms may be around their waist.
Right.
That's how exaggerated that would be.
Okay.
And whether they hit it good or not in practice, they will start hitting it better and better. But at first, it would feel so wrong to them, probably, because it's so exaggerated, right?
Right.
So in my career, I've seen 13 people overdo anything I taught them in 30 plus years of teaching. So that's how rare it is to actually do an exaggeration. So people come back all the time, and we look at their swing and they go, "Oh boy, you've really improved, but we're not quite there. We still got to keep going." That's kind of that's what we see, day in and day out. So if you want to make an improvement quick, try to exaggerate whatever the move is that you're trying to make. If you have a cupped wrist at the top of the backswing, you might have to feel like it's super bowed. That'd be the extreme opposite of where you need to get to, even though we want to we're trying to achieve a flat left wrist, let's say, at the top of the back. You could take any of those kind of examples and just try to go on the other spectrum of where you're at.
Yeah, very interesting advice. Anyway, last question before we take our first short break. Mike, what do most of your students, and I'm not talking about the professionals, come to see you for? Everybody is so obsessed with distance today, and I'm guessing that would be it. Mike, help me get another
Well,
20 yards.
I'll tell you really, to be honest with you, if you ask most everybody that comes for a lesson, the one thing that comes up all the time is consistency.
Let's see, yeah.
Because everybody hits good shots sometimes. It's
Yep.
just hitting more of them. And you're right, everybody wants to hit the ball further, but they kind of go hand in hand. You know, in other words, if you have a better golf swing and you're hitting the ball in the center of the face and you're coming in from a shallow angle of attack and you're able to create some speed in that manner, then, you know, not only are you going to hit it more consistently and you're going to shape your ball the same way every time, but distance comes along with that to some
Right.
degree as well.
Right, exactly. No, that's well said. All right, Mike, stay with us, and we're going to step away, take a short break. We come back, we're going to have much more with our special guest, Mr. Mike Bender, who's in the mountains, by the way, having a good time. So stay with us. We're back right after this.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
One of the perks about being in golf media is that I get to try every club ever made. Of course, like most things, some are better than others. I'm here to tell you that I have found unquestionably the absolute best performing set of irons I have ever played, and my scores show it. Let me introduce you to Grindworks, custom fitted irons that are made to fit your game. Grindworks offers players 3 different styles of irons. You can choose muscleback irons, cavity back irons, and even blades, along with some awesome wedges. And when you purchase your clubs, Grindworks lets you choose the type of shaft you want, the type grip you prefer, and even will adjust the loft and lie of your clubs if needed. That's unheard of. So what are you waiting for? Feel the power and experience and performance of these amazing clubs. Simply go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046 to order. Trust me, your handicap will love you for it. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to get back to our interview with Mike Bender, who's long been considered in the industry and amongst his peers as one of the very top instructors in the country. Mike, what's your feeling about the idea and happening in a couple of years of rolling back the balls?
Well, I'm not a big fan of that.
Me
just
neither.
For the purpose, I mean, just for many reasons, but one of them is you know, I understand they want to try to play, you know, these tournaments, these major championships, and some on some of the older golf courses and stuff. And so I understand that they want to try to, you know, protect the scores and the history and that type of thing. But
Yeah.
But my contention is what's the matter with everybody making birdies? I mean, it's like, you know, people go to golf tournaments to see players make eagles and birdies.
Exactly.
And the clubs and the balls are all maxed out now. So I don't really foresee any ability to really continue this trend of, you know, going longer and longer, other than the fact that the golfers are more athletes now and they're in better shape and better condition. But so I think it's pretty well tapped out in terms of distance. But, you know, so I don't know. I know all of us that play golf out there. I know all the amateur golfers. Last thing they want to do is hit the ball shorter.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know?
That's who it's going to affect. I don't think the tour players are going to be affected that much, because I don't know if you would agree with me. You could put them on a 9,000-yard golf course. They still would shoot some good scores, don't you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, there's, you know, it definitely there's a definitely a difference in terms of, I mean, you go back and look at the averages and so forth. I mean, they're hitting their driver that much further, and they're hitting their irons that much further.
Yeah.
So the golf courses are shorter, but all that means is there's going to be lower scoring averages, and
Yeah.
people like to see those. So I don't understand. And if you want to make golf courses harder, I mean, you can certainly do it with narrowing the fairways,
Yeah.
going in rough, getting the greens firm.
Right,
And
exactly.
there's lots of different ways that, to make a golf course harder. So I'm surprised they haven't really talked much about that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Do it on the golf course, not with the equipment. I know the ball manufacturers aren't happy about it, but
No.
we got a couple of years to go, and we'll see what happens. Have you ever been approached or thought about being involved in designing a golf course?
No, I never. That's never come up in my career. Yeah, yeah. So I think that'd be very challenging.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting when you look back and Crenshaw and Nicholas, obviously over the years, and a lot of great players have gotten into course design and so
Yeah.
forth. So it'd be interesting to know how that transpired.
yeah,
And how, I think Nicholas is probably maybe one of the longest standing ones as a player wise, but
right.
his golf courses, seems like they've gotten better and better. But
Yeah, he's got some good ones. He's got some good ones. There's no doubt about it. I want to get your reaction to this. So I really ask everybody about this. What's your opinion about, and how do you view the LIV Tour?
Well, everybody's got their opinion, right? And I just I understand to some degree why some of the players, they go, this is my job, and I have a chance of making more money and all that kind of thing. But I just feel like it's been bad for everyone. I don't think there's been a winner in this whole thing, other than the fact that the guys made a whole bunch of money. Because,
Yeah, true.
Because I'd love to see Scott Scheffler playing against the best players in the world. And
Yeah.
DeChambeau's been really hot lately, and
Yeah.
he's played well in the majors. I mean, I'd love to see Rahm and all those guys. I'd love to see them all on the same field playing against each other.
Me
I
too.
can't help but think maybe the LIV guys, I mean, there's no way that Bryson has got the feelings that he got at the U.S. Open in a LIV event, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the 4 rounds and the crowds and,
Right.
and just the
Right.
meaning of the
Yeah.
U.S. Open. So I'm sure they missed that to some degree, but I can't speak for them, but I think it could have worked out better if the two tours would have got together and maybe worked something out to where they could have coexisted.
Yeah.
But I think in the beginning, obviously that didn't happen, and so now we have what we have. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here on out.
Yeah, I agree. And and it's not for lack of trying, but like you say, unfortunately, they just couldn't get together and pound out, some kind of an agreement. But I agree with you. You got to get some of the best players in the world together, competing against each other, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
But I mean, I applaud the guys that didn't jump ship, and I think there's, I don't know how much money you need to have enough, but I know one thing, the legacy. I don't think their legacy is going to have anything to do with how many LIV Tour tournaments somebody won, versus being in the Hall of Fame from the PGA Tour and all the legacy of the people ahead of them, like the Hogans and the Sneads,
Right.
and the Nicklases, Palmers.
Right.
I mean, it's an argument. Everybody's got to kind of come to their own opinion on it.
Oh,
I guess.
I definitely agree. Why do you think, though, Mike, that purportedly players prepare a little bit differently, a little more serious when they're in a major as opposed to a regular tour event?
Well, one time I'll never forget I talked to Zach one year, and it was the week before the tournament, before the Masters. And I said, Zach, what are you going to do this week? And he says, well, I'm going to take the week off to get ready for the Masters. And I said, well, is that going to help you play better at the Masters? And he goes, yeah, I think it will. And I said, well, if that's the case, why don't you take a week off before every tournament? So I mean, I said, if you're going to take the week off and get rested and get your mind right and that kind of thing, then that makes sense. But I'm not so sure taking the week off before the tournament is going to make you play better.
Yeah.
Other than, for those reasons, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think everybody, it's very normal to place a higher value on certain tournaments than other tournaments.
Yeah, true.
But really, golf is golf, right? It's 72 holes. Everybody's playing the same course. You got to play 72. So hopefully your mindset would be something to the fact that, hey, it's another golf tournament, and I want to play the best I can,
right? And
not make it bigger than it is, from a mental perspective, anyway.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and I
see
always
that
say
all the time with our juniors, our juniors will play a local tournament here in Orlando.
Uh-huh.
And then they'll go play in an AJGA event, which is more national, right, and more points and more recognizable, and they'll try harder because it's supposedly a bigger tournament,
right?
So they treat the tournament differently, and then they don't perform as well because they're trying harder than normal. So you have that kind of on every level to some degree.
True. That self-imposed pressure, man, will get you every time. In most cases, what do you tell your students about pre-shot routines? Because that is important, and everybody does it a little bit different. Some people believe in it a hell of a lot more than other people.
Well, I think the pre-shot routine is incredibly important because it separates kind of the range from the golf course. So in other words, when people are working on their golf swings and they're very mechanically minded and they're trying this, they have a lot of different swing thoughts and so forth. If you have a good routine and the routine is done properly, it will eliminate those swing thoughts and allow you to be an athlete and allow you to react. So many other sports, where, like, let's say basketball, you're playing basketball, you're on the court, and you don't have time to think. You have to react. You're running up and down. You're reacting to what's going on in the game.
Exactly.
But golf, we got there's no shot clock in golf. There should be. There should be a shot clock in golf. Everybody would play better golf if there was. But so the routine, we divide it up into 3 parts, and the first part is kind of figuring out all the information, right? The wind and the lie.
Right.
the what club you're going to use, that type of thing. Then you've got to go into kind of the second part, which would be more like visualization and making a practice swing to feel what it is that you're trying to do. And then the last part is just the execution, and that should take very little time because you've done all the work. So once you get over the ball, you should be really kind of focused in on your target.
Ready
you should
to go.
Really be able to hold that target in your mind. And so most people, though, when they get over the ball, they're thinking too many thoughts. They're glancing at their target. They're not staring. A lot of times they're stagnant, which means there's no movement, which means they're going to have way more tension. And so, when those types of things happen, that kind of a pre-shot routine is going to lead to, not so great results. So So if you're anybody out there that wants to play better, you need to understand what your routine is and what a good one is, and you need to actually practice it on the range so that when you get on the course, it's automatic.
Yeah, 110%. I got another email of a guy who wants me to ask you, do you really believe that tension is the biggest culprit in the golf swing?
Well, tension is huge because it really affects your range of movement. And there's 2 words in golf, tempo and timing.
Yeah.
And tempo is, the way I would define it is tempo is the time it takes to make a golf swing. And timing is the elements inside of the tempo, meaning when is your hips moving, when are your wrists hinging, your shoulder movement, all the different parts that go on inside of the tempo. And so what tension does is tension starts to change the timing of the golf swing. or the tempo, excuse me, not the timing so much as it does the tempo.
Mm-hmm.
It changes the tempo. The tempo gets quicker, or under pressure, people slow way down, and then
Right.
the timing doesn't go. So tension is a huge deal. It is in any other sport. And it's pretty amazing how well the tour players are able to kind of monitor that and keep it at a minimum.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
I wrote a book on it called Golf's 8-Second Secret. And basically we took the guys that have won 5 major championships or more, and there's 19 of them. And out of the 19, 18 of them all did the same thing, and had a couple things in common. And one of them is that once they got over the ball, once they set the club behind the ball, they were always in constant motion with their hands and feet and body.
Right.
And then the other thing is they completed their swing in under 8 seconds.
Wow.
And if you go to most golf courses today and you watch somebody, once they address the ball and you hit the stopwatch on your phone, you're going to see that it's way, way longer than that.
Yeah, I'm sure. And coupled with the dozen practice swings they're taking, I mean, come on, hit the ball already. Nothing's going to change. I mean, I understand you want to, be loose and all of that stuff, but yeah, that's one of the problems I think with weekend players. Too much time and overconfidence. You got a guy that's 290 yards out from the green. He's waiting. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? And plus playing the wrong set of tees. Have more fun, make more birdies, and play it up a little bit.
You got to like that optimism, though.
yeah, that's true. You got to have confidence. Which brings me to my last question before we take our next break, Mike. Would you recommend somebody and I think I know the answer to this, really good swing mechanics or a really good mental game?
Well, I'll tell you, you can be as good as it gets mentally, but if you don't have the skills, it isn't going to matter.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. So to me, the skill the better, having said that though, the better your skills become, the more mental the game is.
Yeah.
And so, so you need to, kind of work in both aspects. And, part of that is, understanding, course management issues, right?
Right.
And things like that. That's more on the mental side. But you've got to have the skills to be able to, get the ball in the fairway.
Absolutely.
And get that ball in the green, get those, balls up and down, things like that. I mean, so.
Absolutely.
They kind of go together to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Mike, stay with us. And again, we're going to step away, take another short break. We'll come back and finish up with our special guest, Mr. Mike Bender, back right after this. The revolutionary Power to Golf Club requires no swing to hit golf shots from 50 up to 225 yards. That's right, no swing. It's empowering golfers with physical issues to continue enjoying time golfing with friends and family. With just the push of a button, the easy-to-use Power to Golf Club launches shots down the fairway and onto the green. Whether a physical issue or just want to join in on the fun, the Power to Golf Club is for you. Visit online, powergolfclub.com.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we are back, everybody, and we're going to continue our great conversation with Mr. Mike Bender. Mike, Zach Johnson has been one of your students, as you mentioned, for a long, long time. Masters winner, I believe he's won, 12 tournaments on the PGA Tour, if I'm not mistaken. Really, really good player, consistent. What do you advise him, if that has ever come up, when his game might be going south on the back nine or whatever? What do you tell him, advise him to do to keep it together, to get it into the clubhouse?
Well, fortunately, Zach's game is very consistent.
Yeah.
And over the years, he knows, he knows his tendencies really, really well. And so in some regards, we call it maintenance mode. We've been in maintenance mode for a long time now because he knows his swing so well, and he knows the drills.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he knows the feels. More importantly, he knows the feels that create particular shots for him. And so, and you don't win out there. You don't win 2 majors and win all the tournaments that he's won without being good mentally either. So
Right.
he's just a veteran, and he's able to. That's one of the great things about Zach. And over the years, they have a category called bounce back, and he would always be very high in the bounce back category, which would be after I think it's after a bogey. Do you come back with a birdie or par, whatever? So and or a stretch of holes. So he's always been very high in that category, and which is really one of the reasons that makes him so great. And it's hard to do, but if you have the right attitude and the right mental outlook and the belief in yourself,
Yeah.
he can, more times than not, he's going to right the ship.
Right.
And he's going to look at, hey, if he has to make 2 birdies coming in to make the cut, I'm not betting against the guy.
Yeah.
So, he's just that much of a competitor. So,
Yeah.
he doesn't beat himself, in other words, which I think a lot of us do that. We get going sideways, and then
Right.
we go, okay, here it goes again. And, we start trying shots we shouldn't try. And pretty
Yeah.
soon our scores go way up. So,
Yeah, exactly. No, he's not a quitter. He hangs in there and tries to do his level best all the way through the round, and that's one of the reasons he's been so darn successful. Do you ever go out and have a playing lesson with Zach, as silly as that might sound?
well, every time we get together up at when he's at home and I'm with him up there, we'll always go out on the golf course.
Uh-huh.
We'll usually work in the morning. We'll work on maybe some maintenance things, technical wise. Then we'll probably do some result oriented practice, which is measurable, which is maybe groups of 10, see how many out of 10 we can get in our zone or what have you. And then
Right.
Then after lunch we go out on the golf course and we kind of carry on with that result work out there, and we define our starting lines and finishing lines. And something that's that he likes to do a lot is try. He's a drawer of the golf ball, but we don't want to miss left.
Right.
So what we'll do is we'll pick a left line, whether it be coming into the green or coming down the fairway, and then we'll hit. He'll try to make sure that he stays right of that, and so there's certain things that we do, games and things we do on the golf course as well to keep honing in his skills and building
Right.
confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
So who buys lunch, you or him?
Well, we're always up at his club, so I can't lunch there. So
Yeah, put it on Zach's member number. Put it on Zach's member. I
Right.
love it. I just he's got to be an absolute treat to work with. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, if they're down in Orlando or in Florida, not too far from you, how do they get a hold of you, and are they able to book a lesson with you, Mike?
Yeah, I've never really limited my book in terms of, what caliber of player, what handicap, or what have you. So, but if you, MikeBender.com is my website.
Uh-huh.
And then my Instagram, which is you can learn a lot from that. That's a fun thing to look at if you haven't seen that. It's Mike Bender Golf, at Mike Bender Golf Instagram. So those are a couple ways. All of our numbers, everything are on the website. And if you give us a call and you're in the area or whatever, we'd be more than happy to have you come out. We have a pretty special academy. We have a lot of neat, unique practice features out there, and so people.
And you got some great instructors working for you. Some really good instructors.
We do. I mean, Cheryl Anderson's our director of golf, and she's been with for many years, and she's a top 50 instructor and a great player in her own right. She's actually getting ready for the U.S. Senior Women's Open coming up soon. And so we have a great staff. We have a great academy, and it's a fun place to come out. So even if you just want to come out and check it out, hit some golf balls or whatever, we're in Lake Mary, Florida, which is a suburb of Orlando. So easy to get to.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely great. So what is in the immediate future for you? You're going to keep on teaching? You're writing another book? You're going to do some more videos? I love the videos that you put out every once in a while, by the way. They're very simple, very easy to understand. I wish you would do more, but what's in your immediate future? Another book, perhaps?
We have some neat things coming down the pike with Instagram. It's going to really be some great video series there. Way more than just how to swing, but more on how to play and just all the different aspects of the game. So I'm excited about that coming out here soon. And then I'm working on an instructor certification program. It's a 2-year program where I'm going to be training instructors and develop a network around the United States. So
nice.
Somebody wants to be in Las Vegas and they want to learn and take instruction and kind of go under this philosophy, they'll have somebody in that area.
That's awesome.
That they can go to. So I'm working on that. Looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I may soon have the perfect place for another Mike Bender Academy here in Las Vegas. I can't give up too much about it now, but it would be awesome. But if it happens, you're going to be the first one that I let know. Anyway, Mike, I'll let you go. I know that you're on vacation. I really appreciate your time. Great seeing you again, and I wish you all the best. And we'd love to have you back on sooner than later, maybe when you get back to Lake Mary, and get rid of that damn cough, huh?
I know it. It's hanging. I don't know. I got to get rid of that. So it's not fun when you're coughing on vacation. I
know. I got the same thing, believe me.
During it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you those listening during that.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. Anyway, I'll let you go. Thank you so much again, and we'll be in touch. All right, Mike Bender, just a fantastic guy, fantastic teacher. So we hope you got something out of it. All right, we'll step away, take our last short break, come back. We'll finish up with our Golf Minute. Right back.
Carter Bonus of Spectrum Golf not slowing down. His 3rd year at the PGA Show, and the cameras are still following him. This time, Whistle Sports Media and Entertainment and Fox 35's morning show in Orlando, Florida. Spectrum Golf Apparel, one of the few lines selected for the PGA Fashion Show, is designed with skin sensitivity in mind, like Carter's. Get your super soft golf gear today at carterspectrumgolf.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Silvers, but I'm not here today to talk to you about golf. I'm here to talk to you about America's favorite pastime, baseball. America's pastime is back and better than ever with a twist you won't believe. Introducing Old Timers Day, a movie coming soon to theaters near you.
It is a story detailing the greatest baseball game of all time. Two teams, one chosen by God, one chosen by Satan, with the greatest players of all time, living and deceased, playing alongside each other to determine the fate of mankind.
This book, world tour, and movie will help unify the millions of baseball fans around the country and help satisfy the millions of people that have faith and compassion for their fellow man.
Who will win this epic game? You'll have to watch to find out. Expect an unforgettable experience that will touch your heart and soul. The Good Old Boys is brought to you by the Celestial Baseball Association, who are hitting home runs for God. Old Timers Day, where the spirit of baseball meets the power of faith. Don't miss it. Order your copy today at dpztechnology.com/store. Get this, use promo code OTD20 for an amazing 20% off. Hi everybody, I'm Dennis Silvers here for 8 News Now. I am with Adam Markman, PGA teaching professional out here at Stallion Mountain Club. And Adam, I'm a little shaky on my short game. I've got 3 sprinkler heads here. I want to make sure I get it to the pin, which is a fairway. And why don't you show us something with your 3-wood, how you could get that over and get the ball to run to the pin?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so one thing I would like to do is, instead of using that sand wedge or a pitching wedge, use that 3-wood so that way you can get that ball to kind of carry out there a little bit more and kind of get to stop somewhat and then roll out. But the key thing is you're trying to actually just be very minimal and easy and just keeping a same setup like you do with any other club and just kind of taking it from there, but just being very easy with it.
Matt, that was absolutely sensational given the results. You turned that 3-wood into a utility club. That is a great tip for everybody. Well done. For the Golf Minute, I'm Dennis Silvers. We will see you back next time. All right, a wonderful tip there. And speaking about Spectrum Golf, the family is going to be out here in Las Vegas in March, and I've already got Carter booked on the show in studio here, so I think you're really, really going to enjoy that. Anyway, that's it for this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. For Mike, I'm Dennis Silvers, and we wish you nothing but fairways and greens. Get out and play some golf, and we'll see you right back, same time, same place next week. So long, everybody.